Ranking the greatest TV shows of all time is a bit like trying to pick your favorite memory. It's deeply personal, but there are a few shows that genuinely changed the game. These are the series that broke rules, redefined storytelling, and left a mark so deep they keep showing up in conversations years or even decades later. So here's a countdown of the top 10 greatest TV shows ever. 10. The Simpsons. The early seasons of The Simpsons are nothing short of genius-level satire. They took the nuclear family and blew it wide open with absurd humor, surprising emotion, and razor-sharp cultural commentary. For at least a solid decade, it was the funniest and smartest thing on TV. And it's still running. Still, that kind of staying power is legendary. 9. Twin Peaks. Before Twin Peaks, TV wasn't allowed to be this weird. David Lynch and Mark Frost gave us a murder mystery wrapped in surrealism, dream logic, and cherry pie. It bent the rules of television storytelling, paving the way for shows like Lost, The X-Files, and Dark. It asked who killed Laura Palmer and gave us about 40 other questions we're still thinking about. 8. Breaking Bad. Walter White's transformation from high school chemistry teacher to meth kingpin is one of the greatest character arcs in TV history. The writing? Meticulous. The performances? Award-worthy across the board. Every season escalated tension without ever slipping. And the final season? It stuck the landing, which is rare. Very rare. 7. Game of Thrones, Seasons 1 to 6. Love it or hate how it ended, those first 6 seasons were a cultural event. Thrones brought cinematic scope, brutal politics, and dragon-sized ambition to television. Characters you loved, and many you hated, could die at any moment. It was Shakespeare meets sword and sorcery, and for a while it was the biggest thing in the world. 6. Mad Men. Don Draper isn't just a character, he's a metaphor for the American dream's beautiful lie. Mad Men was all about mood, subtlety, and devastating truths buried under polished surfaces. The writing was surgical. The performances? Nuanced perfection. It showed how a quiet moment can say more than a shouting match. 5. I Love Lucy. You can't talk about TV history without Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy was the blueprint for sitcoms, funny, bold, groundbreaking. It gave us multi-camera comedy, reruns, and a woman at the center of it all. Even 70 years later, it's still funny. That's not nostalgia, that's timelessness. 4. The Wire. It wasn't just a crime show. It was a Greek tragedy about America itself. The Wire tackled the drug war, the school system, unions, politics, journalism. It showed how institutions crush individuals. And it did it with characters who felt realer than real. It didn't win awards because it wasn't flashy. It was just brutally honest. 3. Seinfeld. A show about nothing became everything. Seinfeld redefined comedy with its neurotic characters, absurd logic, and obsession with minutiae. It turned yada yada, double-dipping, and no soup for you into cultural landmarks. No laugh track, no lessons, just painfully funny observations about modern life. 2. The Sopranos. This is the show that kicked the door open for prestige TV. It asked, what if a mob boss had panic attacks? And it answered with Shakespearean weight, psychological nuance, and some of the best writing TV has ever seen. Tony Soprano made you feel guilty for loving him. And that ending? Still debated. Still brilliant. 1. The Twilight Zone. Original series, 1959 to 64. Rod Serling didn't just entertain, he taught generations to think deeper. The Twilight Zone used sci-fi and fantasy to explore morality, war, racism, fear, and what it means to be human. Each episode was a parable, a mind-bending puzzle box, or a gut punch. It's the skeleton key to everything that came after. Black Mirror, The X-Files, Lost, even The Simpsons. No show before or since has had such a wide-reaching, timeless impact. And it still holds up today. That's greatness.